Yeah, so I mean, we trade across three different categories in our business, one being brands, the other being logistics, and the third one being manufacturing. So the 27% growth in top line turnover really is a function of all three of those parts of our business operating in harmony with one another. From a franchise perspective, our system-wide sales were up 10%, so that's contributed. Our logistics business is up about in the 30%, and so too is our manufacturing. Regrettably, what's happened is that hasn't necessarily manifested itself in the margin, so you've seen the operating margin come under pressure this time round, and we've got an operating margin of 17.9% versus 19.1% last time. And really the background to that is us taking on consciously two parts of low margin, high volume business on the supply chain side. In logistics, it's commissioning the Crown Mines distribution centre in the south of Johannesburg, and then taking on the cater chain business also in the south of Johannesburg at City Deep on the manufacturing side. I think deliberately what we did at Famous Brands over the years, we built a bouquet of brands, and we trade across a wide range of LSM consumer group types. I mean, the bulk of our business is still very much in mainstream middle income South Africans that are visiting restaurants probably more frequently than they've done before, but not necessarily always spending the same amount. And then of course we have restaurants at the top end of the market where those people are relatively almost recession proof, and so we see still significant growth at the top end of our business with regard to our premium brands. Now, I think what it does say is that certainly the mainstream middle income South African consumer is under pressure, and so we're having to work a lot harder to get that consumer into the restaurants, and so that's hence you see the like-on-like growth of about 5% across our big brands. We talk to mainstream middle income South Africans. So it is about a value equation, so there's margin erosion happening at the franchisee perspective, and there's obviously margin erosion manifesting itself in our manufacturing business too, because we're all having to contribute to provide value at the front end of the business. Because we're a franchise system and a franchise model, I think we're very mindful of the challenge of cannibalisation. I mean, we can't expect to put a franchise partner in the business in one breath and then open another business a kilometre down the road. So I think that what you will find is that for as long as you're in the franchising industry and not necessarily opening company-owned stores where you can afford cannibalisation, is that we're quite astute in terms of deciding where we can open up a restaurant, in what proximities to an existing one of our franchise partners. So I think franchising helps to keep us honest, if you want to call it that, in terms of the ability to open new restaurants going forward. Primarily in Gauteng, because this is where the economic hub of South Africa is, but a lot more development happening in rural markets, both in terms of us redesigning trading formats and taking them into markets where previously we didn't have representation. But then also from a landlord perspective, there's a lot more development with landlords happening in the rural outlying areas. So those are all new markets that are opening up to all of us that compete in this food service category.